What's going on, y'all? My name is Damien, and on this channel, I talk about cloud security, DevSecOps, and also offer career advice within tech and in cybersecurity or DevSecOps. And in today's video, I'm basically going to be talking about and giving y'all some tips and tricks on how to get you hired as a CS graduate, and also if you're seeking an internship as a CS undergrad, how you can get hired as well, because the same tips apply. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So just for context, let me just explain my background a little bit. So I graduated with my bachelor's in computer science from the illustrious Texas Southern University in 2018, December 2018. And over the years, I've seen how it has been progressively getting harder to get an entry level position in the tech space, even for those with computer science degrees that are incredibly technical. All right, so let's get into the first tip, or tips rather. And I'm basically going to refer to books that I used when I was a sophomore in college to help me write my resumes and cover letters, and also, my emails, whether it be like negotiating, following up, et cetera, right? So the first book that I recommend, and this is really, really good, and this is called Knock 'em Dead Resumes. The link, of course, is going to be in the description for both this one as well as Knock 'em Dead Cover Letters, which is the second one. And both of the books honestly give you like a very holistic perspective on how to write your resume that is tailored towards various different industries. It's kind of a catch all, but most importantly, the value of especially Knock 'em Dead resumes is that it gives you example resumes for each different industry. So in this book, I was able to look at like example resumes for IT, for application engineers, or like various different types of engineers. There's even a chemical engineering resume here. And you can see how a proper resume is structured and formatted, right? In addition to that, it also goes into like how to even build and define your own personal brand in your resume so that you can really sell yourself, because that's the most important thing, is brand building. And this book is definitely one of the top books out there, but this book really helped me secure a lot of interviews as an undergrad looking for internship, and as well as someone who was looking for a full-time offer when I was about to graduate. When it came down to the cover letters, I read it and I went through it, and I did draft up a couple of cover letters, but I never really used them. However, some of the letters, as far as like how to, like the letters you would craft for following up with people and negotiating and stuff like that, some of the things that they taught me in this book, this one here, I use in email format. So, ultimately it's just like, I still think it's a really good book and a really good read, because you get to also see like how to best negotiate your offers when you get them, and how to be able to follow up with organizations in an appropriate and professional manner when you're asking about like, when's the next interview, when you're requesting feedback, like all those different things like that. You can get some value out of these books. So my recommendation, take some time, look at the links in the description, purchase these books, or go to the library. If you get a library card in your local area, see if they got these books, rent them out, read them, and start constructing your resumes and your cover letters. Okay, so my next tip for some of those who are still in college and are about to graduate, or who are also looking for internships as well, you want to make sure you take maximum advantage of the career centers that you have on your campus. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one, most likely your career center will end up hosting like career fairs where multiple different organizations will come, and, they'll try to hire from the campus itself. There's also the potential to be able to help you write your resume, right? To ensure that it's written well, you're getting all the necessary keywords, you're learning how to effectively write a resume, as well as interview prep. Interview prep is super duper important. Most career centers that I know at the colleges, especially I know at mine, Texas Southern University, we used to have systems in place where we could request to do mock interviews. And while the mock interviews might not necessarily be technical, right, to the profession, like they're not going to be asking me questions related to just like, oh, how does Java work? And, like what is OOP and stuff like that. There's still that practice of being able to like communicate what it is that you're doing and explain your experiences at a high level using the STAR method, right? In most cases, the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, and result method, right? That is essentially going to take you through a lot of your interviews because most of your interviews are going to be behavioral based, right? They're going to be asking you a lot of situational based questions, and you have to be ready, or you have to be prepared to answer those questions before you walk into that interview. So your campus career centers will definitely help you with that. You just have to make sure you take full advantage of them. With me, when I was in school, I ended up going to a lot of the career fairs, but most importantly, I ended up befriending a lot of the people who worked in the career centers on campus. And I was always able to kind of navigate and strategically plan out what companies I wanted to target and able to practice my interviewing skills before I actually sat down for the interview and get some key pointers on how to, effectively get through the interview and really present myself and put my best foot forward as a candidate. And ultimately that resulted in me getting 2 internships while I was at my institution, while I was in college. So that's why I really, really implore y'all to like take advantage of your career centers, befriend the people that's in there, and just be active in it because there's a lot of opportunities that your colleges will provide to you if you do. All right. So tip number 3, y'all got to start attending conferences if you can afford it and meetups in your local area if you have 'em. And the reason why I say that is because this is where you actually get to network with people. You get to start asking questions about, what they do in their career and what are some things that these companies will be looking for. You keep your eye and you keep your foot in the market, and you also building those relationships with those people as well, right? If you attend meetups for Java, there could be meetups for AI and ML. Any of your whatever it is that you're interested in, you definitely want to make sure that you are networking as much as possible, right? Now, honestly, with this market that we have today, it's very hard for you to just sit there and apply for a job, right? You have to make sure that you're out there networking as well. So meetups provide the space for you to be able to do it. They give you the space to also learn new things. You can collaborate on with people on building things, as well as going to conferences. You get to really put your name out there, especially if you go to like a NSBE conference or, Brace Hopper, stuff like that. These companies will definitely be keeping an eye out for you. You can put your resume in and then you can get interviews on the spot. Well, you go to like specific or certain conferences. So just keep that in mind, is that you always want to make sure that you're actively networking, and conferences and meetups provide you the space to be able to do that effectively. All right. So the fourth thing, and this is actually really, really important, especially for those of you who are really looking and actively looking right now, you need to make sure that you're building your portfolio and learning out loud. When I say building a portfolio, that can be you actually having a list of projects in GitHub that you've developed and you've built from scratch. And of course, your favorite language of choice. And you just basically talking about things that you've done. You've written up a nice README and associated with it to explain everything that it does. Because, technical documentation or learning how to write is key in this industry. You can also blog about what it is that you've written on Dev2, Hashnote, Medium, share that on LinkedIn. Building your brand and your professional persona would allow these organizations to really look at you and be like, oh, okay, so they're actively building out things and they have things that they can speak to, things that they've done. That gives you the experience for you to be able to talk the talk when you get into these interview rooms, right? Because people can also go before you get into the room. A lot of the folks who are actively like the hiring manager and people on the team, they will most likely look you up. And if they look up what you've done and they see the code that you've written, right? And they are able to kind of look at everything, be like, okay, this person actually knows how to do this, know how to do that. Um, you'll be able to talk to it. And to be honest with you, that'll allow your interview to go a lot smoother because you're able to you know what you've done, you know what you're capable of, and that'll help you get to the next step because you can prove it, right? It's proven. You know how to do it because you have a portfolio and people can go look at it and they can be like, oh, okay, this is what you've done. You have blog posts that you share with people. Oh, okay, so I know you know how to do this, right? And on top of that, that creates a feedback loop because people who are interested in helping you grow and develop, they'll also comment on what it is that you've done and say, hey, you can do this. You can do this better. You can do that better. Oh, this is great. Have you thought about extending this, right? Have you thought about scaling this out this way, developing this way? so on and so forth, right? So you want to make sure that you have a portfolio. You want to make sure you're checking in codes at GitHub. You want to make sure you're writing blog posts to stand out. You want to make sure that you're learning out loud, whatever it is that you're doing, and keep moving forwards, right? Leak code is good. Hacker rank is good. Learning how to solve those challenges and whatnot will help you get through the things that you need to get through. But most importantly, you want to make sure that you have a portfolio to be able to showcase what you learned from doing those leak code challenges and hacker rank challenges and so on and so forth. Because ultimately, you want to make sure that you're building things out because that's what you're going to be doing anyway. All right. So the final tip that I have for y'all is to contribute to open source projects when you have the time or if you have the bandwidth. I know y'all are college students. I know you people are going to graduate, but times are hard and you got to figure out ways how to, continue to put yourself out there, right? And stand out. And one key way to do it is to contribute to open source projects. Open source projects are really, really good for networking. And you don't necessarily always have to make technical contributions to an open source project. When I started contributing to open source, I started out with documentation. And then I moved into like making technical contributions to like OPA for one. And what happens when you contribute to these projects is you start making friends with people. People start recognizing you, start noticing you. And depending on where you are, they may be able to connect you to people who are looking to hire people for a specific position, or they might offer you one, right? Whether it be like a developer advocate, or you could even, they may even bring you on as a developer if you're really, really good at what it is that you do. In addition to that, it also looks really, really good on your resume. So that's one thing you want to also look into. Don't be afraid or don't be, you know, intimidated by contributing to an open source project because most cases, most of the open source projects are looking for contributions anyway. And those are all the tips that I have for y'all. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found it helpful, please like, subscribe, share with friends who you think might also find this video helpful. As we move on into the new year and start seeing things, of course, jobs are going to start opening up. But I do wish all of you success, peace, prosperity, and all of those good things as you go through your job search. Thank y'all again for watching and see y'all later.